Hi, my name is Rose Reveley. I am a Vedic astrologer, and I am here today talking about the month of August and the planetary transits that are coming up, the new moon, and how we can take this time and use these energies to make our lives better, to improve our life situation during these difficult times. So please remember to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. First, I want to begin today with talking about a subject I brought up a couple of months ago. In actuality, this was when the pandemic first was, news was reaching out, and we were finding out more and more about it. Around about this time, I started getting these downloads of information that were coming to me. And when I say downloads of information, a lot of times we all get kind of these downloads, and for me, it's a lot of times it's a phrase, or it might just be a word that comes to me. But what happens is it keeps coming up over and over again, so much so that I know I need to pay attention to it, right? So the phrase that kept coming up for me was sovereignty of consciousness. And I thought about that, and I thought, wow, this is deep. You know, it sounds like I really need to give some thought to this. And the truth is that I believe on a soul level, we understand. Our soul understands everything. Nothing is confused or not clear to us. But for me, I needed to really kind of wrap my head around, what is this trying to tell me? And so I believe it's our language really that is the difficult part. It's just finding the words to describe to you, to explain to you what I feel this is and how it relates to astrology. So sovereignty of consciousness is talking about the sun and the moon. And in the Vedic chart, we can see one's consciousness through the placement. These are called the luminaries, the sun and the moon. Now the sun is the spirit. It's also called the Atman or the Atman. But it is the soul, and the spirit is the deepest essence of us as spiritual beings. And this is the beauty of astrology, in that we can understand ourselves on this very, very deep, soulful, you might say, level. The moon relates to our past, to the past. This is important. The past, our consciousness, which I point up here to consciousness, but I believe consciousness is really here in our heart. And so it relates to our consciousness and, again, the past. But one of the a way to say this that might simplify it is, we've all heard this, to thine own self be true. Well, that is a good explanation, I think, for sovereignty of consciousness, or certainly a good action to go by. Now, in Vedic astrology, as I said, the sun represents our spirit, our soul, and it's the deepest, as I said, the deepest part of us. And we know that the spirit is ageless, it's limitless, it's timeless, and it's deathless. This is so important to remember, and it is also so beautiful to know. So the sun symbolizes our enlightened mind, To be sovereign of our consciousness means that we are the independent ruler of it, that no one is calling the shots. We are not clones just walking around with a chip inside of us that's kind of giving us the orders, where to go, what to do, what to say. It means that we are independent we are the independent ruler, sovereign. We are the absolute authority of our consciousness. The word sovereign suggests absolute supreme ruler, okay? Now, you might wonder, well, what does this have to do with astrology, And it has everything to do with astrology. Because through astrology, we can see our consciousness. We can see our awareness. We can see our soul purpose. We can see the divinity, the divineness of us as spiritual beings. So let me explain a little bit about how this relates to the upcoming transits, the upcoming possibilities, okay? So we know, here is what we know. The planets don't make us do anything. The planets provide the energy. We choose every day, every moment, every hour. We are always choosing how to use that energy. We can use that energy for positive things, or we can use it for negative. Day and night, light and dark, good and evil. So we're choosing. In August, we have planets that are conjunct in the fire signs. Now, I'm making a point with the fire signs because this is where the new moon is. It's in Leo. And the fire signs in Vedic astrology or in astrology are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, okay? And the fire signs are where we get the most creativity, where we're inspired, where there's change, where fire transforms. Fire transforms. So where the new moon is where we will see the most change for the next 30 days. And Leo is where the new moon takes place, but it's about our power and our creativity. Now I'm just going to surface here and then we'll go into each one. Uranus turns retrograde in Aries, ruled by Mars. This is a pretty big deal. And you'll see this gets to be a bigger deal into September and October. Retrograde Uranus will be traveling with Mars. Then we have Pluto and Jupiter conjunct each other in Sagittarius, a sign that deals with our beliefs. And so this is, the fire signs are, again, relate to the sun, our soul, essence, our spirit. What inspires us? Where do we feel inspired to create? In the natural zodiac, Leo is the 5th house, which is the 5th house deals with speculation. And what is creativity? Creativity is speculation, right? We're speculating on ourselves, on what we can create, what we can bring forth from that inspiration, from the soul, from the spirit. So the fire signs represent the essence of spirit, our desire to create, but also freedom. Freedom. Freedom, we could look at that freedom as a whole topic in itself, but it's really our individual uniqueness. Okay, so let's break it down. August new moon, August 19th at 2 degrees in Leo. The sun and the moon are the luminaries, and these are the planets that rule our consciousness. We can see this in the Vedic chart. And so the sun and the moon are always conjunct during a new moon. In the sign of Leo, it's so powerful because it's in the sun's sign. The sun rules the sign of Leo. So I want you to think heart energy here, because medically, the sun in the heart, the sun rules the heart, right? So what do you love to create? Start thinking about this. What do you love to create? The star or nakshatra that the moon is, the new moon falls in, is 2 degrees of Maga. This is a beautiful nakshatra that deals with our ancestral lineage. Now let me explain. Everything that runs through your DNA comes from them. It comes from them. So what you enjoy today, your home, your business, your family, your children, all of this we owe to our ancestors. If you have good health, what I want you just to think about that for a moment. Okay, this is really important to honor them, because this new moon will be an opportunity to honor them, and they can still bless us. Okay, maybe they're passed over, but that doesn't mean they're not aware. They're not watching us. Okay, and so you can light a candle. You can light a candle next to a photograph. You can say a prayer. If they're still with you, you can call them and honor them over the phone. Just a phone call to say you're thinking about them. These are simple ways to honor them. Maga is a star that deals with our inherited power. And our inherited power comes from them. It comes from them. So this is a time to think about them and to honor them. The sun, again, is our heart, our soul. We can see that in the chart. And then where the placement the sun is really shows where you will shine in life. It shows where you will stand out, where you will be unique, because it's your heart. You're inspired there in that area, whatever sign that is in. It shows your uniqueness and your soul. It gives us amazing clues about your soul purpose in life, why you're here on the planet. It's no accident why we have all incarnated at this time, right? At this time, at this critical time, we're here to save planet Earth and humanity. I can't think of a bigger job than that. Right? So that is the truth. So this is all connected to soul purpose. Now, Uranus is the planet that's called the Great Awakener, and it's going to be turning retrograde just a few days before the new moon. It turns retrograde on August 15th. So it's turning retrograde in the sign of Aries. Aries is the first sign of the natural zodiac, and Aries is ruled by Mars. Now, Uranus and Mars are both very independent. And I always say Aries, they are the pioneers of the zodiac. Yes, I know Aquarius gets that honor as well. But Aries is very independent. They like to be the first to do anything. They want to be the first. And Aries is not, Mars does not like to be told what to do. It does not like to take direction, right? Because why? It's independent. They have this very much kind of deep, when they're connected and aware, they know what they need to do. And they really don't need supervision. They know where they're going. They know what they want to achieve. Now, Uranus retrograde is really interesting. Because it's going to be moving backwards, okay? Now, Mars is going to go retrograde too, but that's later. That's September, October. We'll talk about that in the next video. In the month of August, it'll be moving direct in the sign of Aries. It enters Aries on the 17th of August, by the way. So you see all of this is kind of like happening, like Uranus retrograde the 15th, Mars into Aries the 17th, the new moon on the 19th. Boom, boom, boom. Three things there that are pretty escalating, okay? Uranus, the great awakener, the planet that is a planet of innovation. It's a planet of uniqueness. In the tarot, the Tower card is the card related to Uranus. So big events, big happenings, and a lot of times it looks destructive, and can be, because Mars, remember that Mars is known as the god of war, but Mars is also a spiritual warrior. Again, we can see that Mars energy can be used for negative, or it can be used for positive. We choose how we want to use that energy. Every day, every minute, all the time, we're choosing, right? So Mars gets a lot of power here in its own sign of Aries, and Uranus gets a lot of power by turning retrograde. It intensifies Uranus's energy. So it's extraordinary because Uranus wants freedom, and so Mars is very independent. So independent, freedom, those are really kind of buzzwords for those planets. And Uranus is again very innovative, and it's the planet of inventions. But it can also cause turbulence, accidents. Mars and Uranus together can bring about these things. It can bring brutality, harm, destruction, injury, all of those things. Injury and accidents around machinery. This is Uranus and technology. So this is why our thoughts and our actions are important, to taking care about our thoughts, taking care, maybe slowing down a little bit also, because Mars gets in a hurry. And sometimes when Mars gets in a hurry, an accident happens. So it's being conscious and aware of how we're using our energy, and mostly too, how we're using our thoughts. Now, Uranus in a positive way can bring about these incredible inventions, sudden advantages that come out of nowhere, right? It's kind of like a cosmic intervention. If you've ever met someone at just the right time and they provided you with just the right amount of information, or they assisted you in something in your life, an event, or including you in their life to give you a great advantage, this is a perfect example of that with Uranus and Mars. So Uranus retrograde Uranus, first of all, is a futuristic planet, very futuristic, because it deals with inventions, which are, positive things that are going to help us in the future. And so we get this kind of sense that we're walking backward into the future. So this came to me the other day when I was watching a movie. About 100 years ago, we had a block of ice that we put inside a refrigerator that cooled our food. This block of ice. And it was called an ice box. An ice box. Now, I remember my grandmother, when I was a little girl, referred to the refrigerator as an ice box. And so she definitely lived in that time where she lived with an ice box before refrigerators. Okay, so think about when electricity was invented and all of a sudden they were plugging in and they had a refrigerator that kept everything. They didn't have to keep replacing a block of ice, right? They had a refrigerator. And telephones, communication, they could speak over the phone. They weren't having messengers with delivering a message or a note. They could speak over the phone and automatically, not waiting days to receive a note or a message. So that totally changed the way of life, right? It was innovative. It changed the way society interacted. And that's what we have going on now. We have that very same thing going on now. Only to us, it feels very different, right? Because most of us didn't live in that time of when, when there were ice boxes and there were people on horse delivering messages. But we're living in a time of reform, of social, everything is changing. Everything is changing, the whole world. We are here to help that. And we can do that, and we can make this a beautiful, loving, and positive environment with our thoughts and with our energy. And there is no accidents that we are here now to do that work, to save our planet, to save humanity. I believe that is the truth of who we are. So if by choosing every day our thoughts, our energy, we choose our thoughts, right? Because we are letting whatever comes into, whatever we are bringing into our awareness, our consciousness. For example, if we're watching the news cycle constantly, then that's going to be negative. That is going to be negative information. And eventually that's going to affect our consciousness and our actions. And so the newsfeed is a giant negative force that it never stops, right? It's 24/7. It never ever stops. And many of you tell me that you've already stopped watching that, as I have too. And it's easy to replace that with positive, with music that is relaxing, that is enjoyable, that is easy to listen to. So we turn off the negative that comes into the mind, and then we can begin to get Jedi mind, where we stop the negative. We don't allow it. We stand in our own power, not allowing negative to come in. We can feed our consciousness with positive and loving and kind and compassionate thoughts. To allow the negative thoughts is to insult our own divinity. To allow negative thoughts into our minds and our hearts is to insult our sacredness, to insult our divinity. The opportunity that exists now is for all of us to transform ourselves. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, fire signs, creativity, connecting with heart, Dharma. 1, 5, and 9, houses 1, 5, and 9 in the astrological chart are the houses of Dharma, life, purpose, what we came here to do now, right? The soul and spirit of who we are. What inspires us? What inspires you? Your creativity, your uniqueness. It's no accident. We need you. We need your positive creativity. We're here now. So what do you want to use your life for, to transform, to create? What contribution, what ignites you, what really inspires you? Uranus wants freedom. Uranus is a planet that wants freedom, not slavery to anything or anyone. And Mars is the planet of intelligence. Mars rules the first house of the natural zodiac, is Aries, and it rules the head, intelligence, thoughtful. This is highly activated. Mars and Uranus are highly activated, and we, again, are using this power. We can use it for positive or negative. The sun and the moon are waking people up. People are beginning to become more awake. We're noticing that, right? We're noticing that. We're hearing that. And they're understanding the sovereignty of their consciousness, being true to yourself, standing in your own power, being free, choosing how you want to live your life. There is no government and no vaccine that can save us or our planet. It is up to us to save us and our planet. And I believe that we can do that. Jupiter is the planet of opportunity, and right now it's retrograde and conjunct Pluto. Now it's very powerful because it's in its own sign of Sagittarius. Again, this is a sign of our beliefs. And our beliefs are being tested right now, even though it's very hard, right? It's very difficult. Neptune is still very active to see beyond the fog, right? I have so many, there's so many situations that really kind of reveal this now, that we don't believe what we hear anymore from the news. We don't believe everything that we see anymore, and people are beginning to tune out, which is good, because when we tune out, we can tune in to heart, to consciousness, to awareness. And that's where the truth is. It is here. It is not out there. So Jupiter, this planet of opportunity, traveling conjunct Pluto. Now Jupiter remains retrograde through mid-September, and then it'll turn direct. But it's very powerful right now while it's retrograde. So here's what you should be looking at or looking for. There's some opportunity in your past that has existed that you probably shelved, that you just didn't see how you could move forward. You didn't know how you could get it done. But it's something that's always kind of been lingering there. Maybe for years even. It's been there in the background, just sitting there, waiting for you, waiting for now, for you to create it, to bring it forward. And so this is something that you should take another look at. Okay, I urge you to take another look at whatever it is. If you're listening, you know what that is, chances are. Because Jupiter rules all, no opportunity comes to us without Jupiter. And a lot of times people mistake Jupiter for money. It's really not money. It's really the opportunity that brings money, okay? Because your fortune is what's here and here. Your unique creativity. Your unique creativity is really your fortune, and it's really your wealth. So let's see. We need to start looking at wealth in a different way, We need to start thinking about it in a different way, not just as monetary, not just as monetary wealth. Like I was just saying, wealth is internal. It's not really external. I realize that money is an energy exchange, as is everything. Our financial system is being reorganized right this moment. It has been for years. It has been ongoing for years. This has been in the works for years, probably decades, really. But it is going to change. And so it's really imperative that now we start to look at wealth in a different way, We have this window of time between now and mid-November where at that time, mid-November, Jupiter will transit back into Capricorn. It loses its strength and power there, okay? It loses its strength and power because it gets what astrologers call debilitated. Not my favorite word, but now, right now, that's why I say we have a window of time. We have a window of time. We need to use this time wisely to the advantage, to our advantage. And we can do that. So everyone all of us plays an important part in reimagining our lives, because by doing that, we're reimagining the planet. We are reimagining our country, Mother Earth. Can we reimagine it in a positive way? Yes, I believe we can. Where do we start? Monitoring this, what's coming in, what we're bringing into our awareness and consciousness daily. We're always choosing with our thoughts and our actions. I want you to just notice that the more aware and the more conscious and awake that you are, the more you will use positive energy to move your life forward. The less awake the more negative energy is used. You'll use your life in a constructive way when you become aware of your thoughts and how you're using your energy, and not in a destructive way. So the planets have kind of the planets have set up this triple layer cosmic cake, right? Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. New moon, new slate, new opportunities. We must begin to think that way, to lift ourselves, to reimagine, recreate our fortunes, our planet, recreating it, transforming consciousness, aligning with our soul purpose, reminding ourselves of our inherited power, the star Maga, inherited power. Sovereignty of consciousness. This is all very much related. All related. If you've never had time to strike out on your own, on something that you really wanted, that you'd always thought about, or it's always been in the back of your mind, right? Or I should say your heart, now's the time. With this pandemic, we all have more time, right? More time to write, more time to make a video, more time to speak out, to speak your truth. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We can create a new world without wars, without fighting, without destruction. It's our choice. It is our choice. Positive and negative. So, what is the deepest yearning desire that makes your heart sing? That makes your heart sing. Think about that. Now is the time. If you'd like to understand more about your soul purpose, my contact information is in the description. Thanks so much for watching and listening today. Remember to stay in the light. Namaste.